Good afternoon, everyone. LJ here, the Go Biz Guy, podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. In just a minute, we're going to have our co-host join us, and we'll be live. Oh, gosh. Hello, everyone. LJ here, the Go Biz Guy. Well, hello, everyone. Good
Are you
afternoon,
there?
everyone. Yeah, this is LJ, the Go Biz Guy, the podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. And so, a little bit of difficulty today, and that's up to me. That's what it is. So, I have on the show today a very, very, very good friend of mine and a very good. I don't want to say subject matter, but he's very knowledgeable about the sports world, and so things are happening. So. Uh, okay, can you hear me now?
I got you, buddy.
Okay, good. So welcome aboard, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, how you doing, Lauren? It's always great to talk with you, pal.
I'm doing pretty good. It just must be like the devil's in the phone work or something today. So it's all good. We'll rebuke him and go on. How's that?
Yeah, you know how that goes. Whenever two or three are gathered in God's name, then the enemy tries to sneak his uh, dirty face in there, and so we got to tell him to get behind us. So
Yeah,
yeah, good. Yeah.
yeah. So we want to talk about excuse me, the business of sports in America. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. What was the original sport in America? You have any idea?
Boy, that's a great. Isn't the only sport in America baseball? I thought that was the only
Ah,
sport. So,
well, we'll get to that in just a minute. So,
yeah, yeah, that
any
won't go over
idea?
so great. I have no idea. No, I would say football, maybe.
Ah, very close to that whole process, but lacrosse.
Oh,
Um,
lacrosse.
yeah, lacrosse. The Indians originated lacrosse, and so it comes for a lot of things, and it's interesting because lacrosse is not as popular as it used to be, but it's still very popular if you understand that. So
Yeah, yeah, it's starting to come on again. My
yes,
grandson likes to play lacrosse. He loves it, and then it's all through. I think the high schools in Vegas, they all have
okay,
lacrosse teams. And it's pretty popular, and so that's amazing. I didn't realize that history.
yeah, yeah. So then there's about seven sports that we'll share a little bit of background. Then we want to get into a little bit about um, your background in sports, et cetera. But there's about seven sports. I'm just going to highlight a couple of them because they kind of relate. Golf was kind of invented before Abraham Lincoln, and so we kind of throw that in the mix and everything. And we talk about basketball. I don't know whether you knew this or not, but basketball started with two peach baskets and a little soccer, and uh, they kind of tied it into some rugby, and it really came across from our colonial people. And so, they ran down the thing, and somebody called a bunch of guys together and said, "Hey, we got this thing going on, and we put up these baskets, these peach baskets, and they took the bottoms out from underneath them and threw them in." So it was interesting. And football, like I said, football was kind of originated uh, through rugby and soccer, and so it's kind of a little bit of trivia there. Then we get into baseball, and you should know the history of baseball, right?
Well, I should, but I know some. I know
Okay.
it was Abner Doubleday who created baseball, right?
Well, it really started out kind of a children's game in New England, and it was really introduced by a colonist, and she kind of put some cricket to it. And so then her name was Joe Cartwright, no relation to the Bonanza gig,
not not to
but
Ben, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so she then codified the set of rules that would form the modern day baseball that we know. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and I wonder how much the rules have really changed. I mean, I know there's been some rule changes in baseball, but from the very beginning in the history that I've seen of the game, it seems to be the same game. I know that there's a lot of adjustments, but basically it seems to be the same, right?
Yeah, it hasn't. There's a lot of fundamentals. I mean, you look at those peach baskets in basketball. I mean, has things changed? I mean, um, and nothing's really changed from the original foundations of sports. And I think it's interesting. So let me ask you a little bit about your background in sports. I don't know whether it was a baby coming out of the womb and you thought about sports. I don't think that's real. But so at any rate, what kind of like, I know your dad was very conscious of sports, right?
Yeah, yeah. My dad introduced me to sports when I guess since day one that I can remember, and my mom's brothers were professional boxers, and one was a heavyweight,
Dang.
and was really something special. So I grew up with, I loved baseball. My dad was a baseball player, but we played, and you and I played a lot of them together,
Yes, we
50
did.
years ago, probably, right,
Yeah,
or more,
yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
amazing. But, yeah, I always loved to play. I loved to play baseball. I always wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, and always believed that I could do that. And my dad continued, and my mother and my family continued to support me in everything that I could possibly do sports wise. We played basketball. I remember we
Yeah,
played we played football. I went to tackle football once. I thought, hey, look, I'm going to try this Pop Warner. You remember that, of
yeah,
course.
yeah. Right.
So I went to a practice and I put on these pads, and I was just a little guy, and these pads were huge, and I didn't know what to do with them. I could barely stand up with them. They were so big. It felt. And I remember I ran around. I played one practice. I got knocked to the ground every single time. And then I remember, and the guy who was running would run by me. I was supposed to make the tackle. I never made the tackle. And then one day, one play, a guy was a really good halfback, and he came running at me. And I remember that a guy from behind pushed me, and I tackled the guy because I knocked into him. This this was a story. This true story, buddy.
Yeah.
And I remember all of the guys saying, "Yeah, man, yeah, that was great, yeah, good job." And then Lauren, I never showed up again. I turned in my gear and I was done, baby. I was done. So that's my football experience. I've got another one, but I'm not going there. But that's it. But overall, I played all sports, and of course I did end up playing professionally. I played 6 years in the minor leagues.
Uh-huh.
And which really, kind of catapulted me. The people that I met were incredible, obviously, and I've had friends that are, throughout baseball, Major League Baseball, for many, many, many years. And I was I was a chaplain with Major League Baseball for 18 years, and probably had, I don't know, maybe 3,000-4,000 athletes top, in their game. Come to chapels and talk about Christ, and many were saved there. It was
Amen.
amazing. Yeah. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And my
Well,
kids play. Robbie is a coach, and my grandson's quite an athlete. And so, yeah, sports is huge, right?
so let's dive a little deeper into sports. Okay. Why do you think that there's a profile of parents that think sports are good to put their kids in? Okay, is there a socioeconomic stratosphere, if you will, that there's a certain type of parent that will put their kids in sports because they can do what? What can they learn from sports?
Yeah, yeah. And I can only give you my view of being heavily involved in athletics for many, many years, of course. And so, I think I see things changing a lot. And I'm a coach of my grandson's baseball team, and it's a national organization called Canes, and
Awesome.
it's a great organization where they really showcase players and really teach them and lift them up, and our team is Christ based, and so we pray and we talk about Jesus, and then we go and play, and they're just young kids, but it's it's so serious now. It's like I say, things are different. When we played Little League. We had a good time. Went to the snack bar. It was serious stuff. But now, I think that parents, for a lot of reasons, they have their kids in sports. And unfortunately, I think one is because the payday is huge, and if you've got a chance to play in the major leagues or play at the highest levels, you can create generational wealth, and by just doing it. So a lot of parents, I think, really get their kids involved, and they push their kids and they play all the time and they wear them down, and whatever they need to do to chase after that. I think there's one group that's that way. And then I think a large group, by the way. And I think that there's also those of us, if I can say, those of us that have learned so much through sports of how to compete and how to take, I don't say loss, I say challenge, and how to how to learn how to win, how to treat other people, how to compete and work hard, And it seems to me in my lifetime, being an athlete helped to create the man that I have become in business and in my relationships. So I think that, sports, organized sports allows you to meet others and other kids and other families. And, I just think it's, it certainly is a cornerstone of what we all do or love. And, Lauren, everybody, it seems, look at the women's basketball now. I mean, it's amazing.
Right.
I never thought, I remember, hey, look, this is the truth. When you and I were growing up, girls threw like girls,
Yeah.
and that's the way
Yeah.
it was, right? And if a guy threw like a girl, you said, hey, you throw like a girl, you run like a girl. Now
Yeah.
it's like these women,
Yeah.
girls and women are incredible athletes. And so I've been
Right.
watching, obviously, Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
How do you not watch her? She's amazing. So I never thought I'd watch basketball, but I search for when she's playing and try to make time to where I can see this incredible athlete who's a woman, and she's incredible, classy, and
Yeah.
anyway. So I think there's so much to gain from sports, and you and I, we're martial artists. Don't you feel that karate just becomes a way of life, and for these kids is just so valuable?
No, it is. And, I've had a couple of bumps in the road and I've just like, I don't know whether you've had hip surgery. I've had hip surgery. I've had all kinds of stuff. And it is a way of life. And I never expected that when I was a white belt. And now I'm proceeding to my third. But, the thing about sports is what I had a conversation with my daughter. My grandson Alex is a very good standout basketball player. He's 6'7", and he's being watched by a lot of colleges and everything. And so he hardly played at all last year. And the rankings just came out, and he was ranked number 9th in the state of West Virginia.
That's incredible.
Well, he played 2 games, right? But his stats spoke for himself. And so my daughter said, and this was kind of crazy, man. I could not believe this. But she said to me, she said, Dad, she said, it's about who you know in the standings. I said, what? She said, yeah, I've heard that I don't know who gets the money, but money talks, and then kids gravitate to the number 1 spot in rankings. I said, you gotta be kidding me. And she said, no, Dad. She said, it's really, really a shame. And people condemn other players, and it becomes political. Okay. And so I think your comments about the first group, I think the motivation is wrong with a lot of parents to get their kids for that payday. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The chances of ever getting that opportunity, no matter how great that you are, is really slim, but you can do it if you work hard and if you do have God-given ability, which is a huge, to be an athlete, which is a huge advantage. But nowadays you got to eat right, you got to lift, you got to run, you got to train all the time. That's got to be your focus. And it's hard to even have a game plan, other than, the one that you have, rather than, what I'm saying is not to have a fallback position, but just to go all in on what you want. And most of the great athletes that I've seen, Lauren, they started at a young age, and it was their passion. It was their desire. It was to work, and if the parents were along, that's great. And most of them, most parents want what their kids want. And so, you have a special athlete there. And I want to say this to the families. If you never quit, never.
Right.
I could tell you a story about, like you just said, he's 6'7" and, didn't play much last year, but they see the tools is what they see.
Mm-hmm.
So my son Robbie, and you know Robbie very well, he's a great football coach, and he's coaching in the collegiate leagues now here in Utah. And Robbie, he always wanted to play pro ball in the big leagues. He was a great player. And so, worked hard. We worked really hard. He really wanted to play. And so his junior year in high school, he, on a really good team, he sat the bench,
Wow.
and he'd get a chance to hit once in a while. And then, he just wouldn't let that deter him. So he continued to work. And then the next year he was drafted by the Oakland A's as a catcher.
Wow.
And so, it's the same story as what you're saying. So I would encourage, I'm all in for the sports. I'm all in for the great coaching and believing that you can get there and working hard towards your goals because you can get there. I've seen it happen of guys that they say there's no way that you'll get a chance, and then the next thing you know, they're in the major leagues and that they're producing and doing really well. So,
Right.
you have to still stay within yourself and what you want to do, I believe.
Well,
But when you
yeah.
have the political stuff, I think that there are certain companies or certain teams that are political like that do boost you up, that do take money and go. And I think that there's also most that are pretty straight, that are pretty,
Sure.
It's just changed, Lauren. I mean, they
Yeah.
rate these kids when you're a 10-year-old, you're rated in the national system as a graduate in, I don't know, 2035 or,
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
So,
money. Big money
yeah.
too.
So, it's encouraging because my daughter, we also have a really good volleyball player. She's 14 and she plays at the high school and college level.
Oh,
And,
that's
uh,
incredible.
and,
Yeah.
and her and her, they've got a trainer that they go to on an ongoing basis. And Adam he's been on my podcast, but Adam he knows a lot of people and he's well connected. And so I think that plays into an effect on sports. But the other day, my two grandkids got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and went and worked out before school.
That's
Okay.
great. That's incredible.
So their passion is above everybody else. And what happens to my grandson because of the age and everything is that he wishes somebody would work with him. And so I told him the other day, I said, listen, you need to stop worrying about other people. When you rise above everybody and you do what you want to do, don't worry about what they say or think. Okay. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he has his own calling,
He does.
So,
Yeah.
Lauren, there's plenty, and this because you're an athlete, and you're a great athlete, by the way. Your listeners need to know you're a tremendous football player and a good baseball player and a great athlete. And I think we played basketball together too.
Yeah. I think so. We did. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a great athlete. So, and you're in martial, you're third-degree black belt, which, that's to be commended. That's incredible. It really is.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's commitment and hard work and outworking people. When you didn't want to show, you showed up and you did your thing. And, I know your organization because we're in the same organization, and
Yes.
there's no gifts there. You earn
Nope.
every stripe and you earn every belt. And, so that's to be commended, buddy.
Thank
That's
you. Yeah.
incredible. But as an athlete and as someone who has a grandson, I say my son Robbie played with the San Diego Padres.
Wow.
My grandson is he's 11 years old and he's a great player. He just tried out for Team USA.
Awesome.
Incredible. He's just a kid, but he's Lauren. He works. I mean,
Yep.
he wants to play. He wants to be at the gym. He's at a catcher's clinic right now with our son Rob. And so the desire is there. It's almost like, hey, Jameson, you want to play catch again? Oh my gosh, you're killing me.
Yeah.
But
Right.
really, he's keeping me alive.
Yeah.
Keeping me
Yeah.
moving forward. So, but Lauren,
Well,
there's always coaches out there that'll be able to help, and when the time's right, that with your grandson. But you're an athlete, and you can see it. If he's an athlete, then
yeah.
in my view, you get him everything you could possibly get him to help, and the best coaching and the best everything, and let him go, man.
Well, it's interesting because my daughters, they weren't very athletic. I've tried to get them to play basketball and run track, and it was kind of an interesting thing. But my son's pretty athletic, and he's just retired from the National Guard, but he's anyway. So, but what's interesting is I think this goes a little bit deeper. I think it goes into the DNA. Okay, and I think kids see their parents. That have either been in athletics or they have been um, coached by some good coaches. And then they take that and they motivate them just like you have a generational process going on right now before your eyes. And I've seen your grandson hit a couple of home runs on Facebook. I mean, and so I think that sports is a foundational. I don't know what I want to call it, an institution or organizations, but the United States, I think, more than any country in the world, has put a price tag on sports, and they've also been motivated by parents who see the benefits of sports in their children's lives. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Yeah, 100%. I think you're right on there, buddy.
Yeah. So what do you think that the business of sports in America um, has done to our economy and has also done to um, well, let's just start with the economy. What do you think the influence is in the United States for sports?
I think it's massive, and I think it's worldwide, and I think the United States is working with other countries and other places that in Saudi Arabia. I know that the UFC is there this week. I'm a big UFC guy. I love the
Yep.
love the fights, and so it's massive. It's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. There's no question about it. The TV contracts are massive because there's a lot of people watching, and the advertisers pay big money, and that's. Lauren, I was a sports agent long ago, and I think you knew that. And I represented a lot of guys in the major leagues baseball, and it was really before sports agents were around. So I'm trying to
Okay.
even think 88, around that time, 80, 85, 86, those years. I mean, not a young guy anymore, but and the average salary for a major league player, I did a lot of contracts for the guys. The minimum salary was 35,000
What?
minimum.
What?
So yeah, check it out. I mean, I think it was 86, 88, it was 35,000. And most of the guys were making, if you were making 100, or I remember I did a deal. I had one guy who was making 660 or something like that. And it was like, holy macro. But did you know that nowadays, and you do know this, but nowadays, all of the guys, the average salary is close to $1 million a year and probably more. The minimum, it is much more. I'm sorry. I meant to say the minimum salary. I know the minimum last year was 602,000, I believe.
Okay. Wow.
For a rookie, a guy comes up. And so my point is this, and guys like Otani, obviously big superstars, and there's a lot of big superstars there that generate so much money. And, but they're making 25, 30, 35 million a year, for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. I mean, they're massive. So, and then the memorabilia, we have an apparel company, and it's a sports apparel company, custom sports apparel, and we kill it. There's so many people that are into sports, and they buy shirts and hats and everything you could possibly want, any type of shirt. It's incredible, and it's online. So, I mean, absolutely, and everything is really expensive. Did you notice that you get a really nice hat's $40?
Right.
I remember maybe a year and a half ago, it was 25. Anyway, so that my point is it's massive business. And I think it's just, I really think it's just starting. And now, like you say, lacrosse, and, out here we have rugby. I don't know if you've watched rugby, but that's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it is. It's a combination of UFC fighting and football.
Yeah. You would have been a great rugby player. That's right. Seriously, that's right up your alley. Let's go.
Yeah.
No pads. Let's go.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
In martial arts, they call me the charging bull. So
sure. I've got several. Several, but we're not going to go to the stories of old.
Right.
But I covet them, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've had, just as a sidebar and everything, I've had, I think Joe Curtis or something asked me if I was going to go to the reunion. And I said, nah, probably not. But he said, if you do, I'm going to invite a bunch of people and we're going to talk. So
yeah.
I said, well, I don't know about that, Joe. Well, I might get in trouble if we talk too much.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God we've all changed, right?
Oh, yeah. 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 So
New
it's
creations
interesting.
in the Lord.
Go ahead.
Yeah, new creations in the Lord. That's all.
Amen. And so what's interesting is, I think, I don't know what the actual, gross national product is for sports, but I think as a tax base, I'm sure it has tons of revenue into the economy and government. And so I think that they play and sports plays a significant role in everyday politics. And, they each one has a commissioner, but then it becomes political as to whether or not they're going to be doing this or whether they're going to be doing that. And a prime example is some of the athletes wouldn't salute the American flag.
Yeah, yeah. I have a problem with that too, as you
Can
probably
you
know.
speak into your mic? Something's going on right here.
Yeah, yeah. Is that better?
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a problem with that, by the way. And so I even stopped watching certain sports because of that. Um, I just that to not stand for the flag. And what's crazy is I've been in many, many stadiums, and there's been times when they play in the national anthem and everybody stops, and then there's also times when people will keep walking. And I actually stopped a couple of people from walking not long ago, and I had a nice conversation with them. I don't know if they received what I was saying, but we live in the greatest country in the world.
Right.
And we're not perfect, and we need to make a lot of adjustments for sure. But I mean, we're the United States, man. And so, I think that what your statement is about sports being political, there's no question about it. And I think that if they dug deeper into the influence of sports within the politics, I think that we would see maybe some ugly stuff. And I know that the United States, the basketball team, I don't know now, but I know they used to like to go to China, and they have business relationships in certain areas. You're definitely right on with that, Lauren. It's political. It's a massive industry. It's massive. And just turn on ESPN. They got like 4 ESPNs now.
I know, right?
And it's 24/7. Go to Vegas, and they've got these sports books like crazy everywhere, and they're packed up, and there's people, and the betting has never been more. And
right,
and
that's a whole nother thing. Betting.
Yeah, that's a huge. The gaming industry, sports is massive.
Yeah,
I'm an old Vegas guy. I've been around there for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Lived there for 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's amazing online stuff, and yeah, you're right on it, and it does have a place in the political arena, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's interesting because we take it from a child like yourself, and then we boom it up, and you get in the pros, and then. So what is the average ticket for a professional game cost nowadays as opposed to 20 years ago?
That's a great question. I'll do my best. I know that my dad, many years ago, probably, and this goes back a long ways, but probably
Sure.
60 years ago, bought 4 tickets to Dodger Stadium, season tickets, and we went when I was a kid, and we still have them in the family right now. It's amazing. But I know that when we went, I remember they raised the prices to $6.50 a ticket, and my dad went, $6.50 a ticket? You gotta be kidding! That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'm not, And so we tried to put it together, and then I know that nowadays, gosh, they get like in some of these seats, thousands a seat.
Yes.
On the court, I know, and I used to hang out with this guy Tony Danza I mentioned to you. We were really close friends for many years, and we used to go to the hockey games together when Gretzky was in L.A.
Okay.
And those were fun times. I mean, long ago, of course, but he had the best seats in the house. We were right on the glass, sitting next to Gretzky's family, and we went a lot. Yeah, it was a really great experience, fun time. And we went there a lot, and that's when the Lakers were, Showtime, and hockey was getting big in L.A. and Gretzky, of course. And I remember that he had the tickets, and they were $300 a piece.
Wow.
right on the glass. And I thought,
Wow.
oh man, that's a lot of dough. And now it's like, you're not able to get that stuff. And Vegas hockey, by the way, is wild, and it's a tough ticket to get, and it gets expensive nowadays. But so I don't know the average tickets. I know that if you go to like the Salt Lake Bees out here, and I'm in Utah now, so
Yeah.
the Salt Lake Bees, which is the AAA affiliate of the Angels, I think I don't know, it's probably $20 a seat for
Yeah.
AAA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, I know that for the Steelers, because I'm a Steeler fan, and
yeah,
I know that there's a waiting list. There's a 10-year waiting list to get tickets to go see them. You can't just randomly go get tickets
yeah,
because, and then of course the skyboxes. I mean, those are millions and millions of dollars for companies. That's how they
big,
do business, right?
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a culture that we will never eliminate, and it will continue to grow. And I think it'll continue to grow with other countries. And you talk about the Olympics, and you talk about how we put down supposedly our political vibe and compete with one another on a neutral turf that gives the presence of greatness and the ability to shine. But I think we have to be very careful in sports. I know that there's a lot of what I would call egomania in sports, and that's because I have an ego. You probably have an ego, but I wanna compete at all levels. I told somebody today, my workout partner, I said, I'll be 67, but I feel like I'm 39, 40 years old. And I
Yeah.
said, I think that mindset is very critical as you go on. But
Yeah.
I think we just have to be careful about how we manage, like you said, we manage our mental health, we manage our food, we manage our physical abilities and try to increase. And we just do the very best we can because God give us the ability to do what we can do. And if we exceed, then we exceed and bring honor and glory to Him because that's what's important more than anything else that we do.
That's everything. What you just said was awesome, Lauren. Kelly, I mean, that touches my heart because that's exactly right. It's everything. And, I'm glad that you're feeling really good too, by the way, that your
Thank you.
body's feeling good. Because, you and I, together and separately, we've put our body to the test physically, many, many years and at the highest of levels in the martial arts. And, when we were young guys, both of us were all out guys. I
Yeah,
mean, you were
right.
100% of the time. And I mean, you're prepared to die. And that's how I played the same way. And it's true. It's called old school. And there's some guys like that still play that hard and work that hard. But I think for me personally, I worked that hard and pushed my body, because I was maybe a little short, in areas of talent that some of these other bigger guys were more talented, so I had to work, and I had to, it was always you have to be stronger than this guy 6'3" because I'm 5'10",
Sure. Right. Yeah. Right.
and look, I don't run as good as that guy, so I got to be a great base runner, and that
Sure.
that type of stuff. And then when we fight, we were fighters, both of us, and that's
Yep.
probably why we got into the martial arts. And so when I fought in these tournaments, I mean, we didn't lose, we won. And the reason we won is because we outworked everybody and we trained and got in the best shape possible. But my body took a beating, man.
Yes.
And I feel it now. And, short story long. I mean, so I'm sorry to just ramble on here, but look, Lisa's been telling me, look, you need to drink more water. You need to eat better. You need to, let's get in the gym a little more.
Yeah.
She's exactly right. Sometimes my body just hurts, man. But you got
Yeah.
to keep going, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think it's they've done studies where men have been kind of lethargic, and they all of a sudden got them into some activities, and their cognitive improved, and they were in their 80s, and so
Awesome.
their fingers were able to move a little bit. Um, I just think that athletes will probably always try to do their best. And even though if they're 90, I mean, my grandfather was in his mid 80s when he stopped square dancing. And,
That's right.
I mean, so I hope I have his DNA, but I just think that sports and, speaking to, Sugar Ray Leonard's son, Ray Leonard or Ray, yeah, last week on the podcast, and he's got some very interesting, uh, friends and people that he knows personally, but he was born into that whole environment of sports,
Right.
and I mean, so sports is so vital to our economy. It's so vital to a family that has good core values and places their kids in the right motivation to continue sports. I just think that there's unlimited abilities and things that could happen with a kid that just keeps on going, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and so yeah, you and I we've kept on going, and who knows, I might be like my grandfather and go square dancing. I doubt that because I don't like square dancing. But anyway, I will still be very very active, and I
Yeah.
and I
And God has the perfect plan for you, Lauren. We talk about that every time we get a chance to visit.
yeah,
He's got the perfect plan, and so we got to buy in 100%.
we do.
And
Amen.
he's blessed you with, you're touching the world for Christ right now. And
Amen.
you're doing it through great messages, and this podcast is outstanding.
Thank
Um,
you. I
it
I
really
have
is.
I have fun with it. I mean, God is every time I needed somebody to be a guest, God has provided me someone, and so I just I appreciate you, and I appreciate um, this podcast as well. So we've had 244 people on this live broadcast. And so it's pretty cool. And then we're going to be blasting this out to everybody today. And Kevin, I just want to say thank you so much, brother, and love you. And I hope sometime soon that maybe I can fly out to Utah and we can hang for a little bit. And
Uh, that gave me
so
chills. Yeah, that would be.
so
You know what? That would be awesome. I'd
it
love to
would
give you
be.
a big hug. Love to give you a big hug. And I'm just praying blessings and peace and prosperity over all of your listeners now, in the mighty name of Jesus, pal. And
Amen.
I love you, man.
Love you too, man. You have a blessed day, and we will be talking soon, brother. Thank you.
Yep. Look forward to it. See you, Lauren. Thank you, babe.
Bye.
Bye.